am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
God bless you, everyone. Alfred Johnson coming back to you. Delighted to be able to talk with you. And again, to just bring clarity to certain things that are taking place and clarity to certain ideas so that our minds can wrap around certain things and we'll know what to do. Very important day again today. Very important things are taking place in our world and in our country. Things that we have to give attention to. Don't be alarmed. Don't be afraid. This is just a time where America defines itself again, redefines itself, where this is an opportunity. You know, problems, I heard, are just opportunities in work clothes. And it's just an opportunity for America to determine, are we going to still be the historic America, that great America that brought liberty to the world in a way that no other country did? Or do we regress? Do we go backwards and become what countries have become to their own hurt? We have those choices, and so that's why I'm here. I'm here to bring some clarity, especially right here before the election. Now, I told you that I was going to be declaring the direction that I not only lean in, but I fight for. All right, and as it concerns the political candidate, especially for the presidency, but the lines have been drawn so that it's not just the presidency; it's right on down the line. Okay, from the Senate to the House to the judges and things of this sort that we want to get appointed, things of that sort. So it's very important that we understand why we do what we do. So today I'm actually going to be running through a list. Now I'm going to tell you point blank right now, I support the president. I support President Trump. I support the conservative agenda. I support the laws that come from the conservatives, and there are reasons for them. The other party is doing some very, very, very strange things. You know, I just want to go ahead and tell you just what's been happening in the last few months during COVID. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what is happening from the other side. These are things that these folks are doing that are flat out remarkable, that are unreasonable. Matter of fact, not only unreasonable, these things are wicked. Let me tell you a few things here. Here's what the Democrats, and I have to say it like that because I have to be cut and dry so you can understand where I'm coming from. The Democrats in their various states, here's what they have done over the last few months. I'm going to read them off to you. They closed our businesses. Now we know that the president, when the disease first came upon our shores, went ahead and closed the economy down because we weren't certain what that disease was, what that virus, what the virus actually was, whether or not it was some kind of a warfare, a viral warfare, or some form of a biological. We didn't know. So the president, in order to keep the Americans safe, went ahead and shut down the economy. But once we discovered what it actually was, and that it was a tough virus, but manageable, something that we could deal with as a people. And by the way, we have. I know you're hearing a lot from the media that just blows things out of proportion, but there's been less than 10,000 people that have died specifically because of COVID. That was the disease they had. It was COVID, and then they died. 10,000, less than 10,000. Folks, those kind of numbers are not worthy of shutting down an economy over. The other deaths occurred when people had what's called comorbidities. That means they had other major health issues that, when combined with COVID, took them out. And the great majority of them were elders. Okay, you're not dealing with the young people. You're not dealing with the 35 and under, and even the ones that are over into the 50s. Their death rates for acquiring COVID is very, very, very low. And yet they continue this hostile shutdown and an attack on liberties and an attack on churches like I've never seen in my lifetime. Let me go and read to you some of the things. They've closed our businesses. They've closed our schools. They've closed our churches. They've closed our beaches. They banned parties. They banned funerals. They banned graduation ceremonies. They banned nursing home visitors. They banned hospital visits. They banned dads coming into the delivery room with their wives. They banned travel to certain states. They even designated what constitutes a meal. On the other hand, they allowed protests. And many of those protesters were not wearing masks, and they weren't concerned about COVID protocols of 6-foot distance and all this. That was reserved for the church. That's reserved for civil people. For the civil ones, then you're not allowed. The laws are against you. But against these who are protesting, doesn't apply. They allowed riots. They allowed anarchists to co-opt cities. They allowed the storming of police precincts. They allowed the assault on peacekeepers. They allowed multiple funerals for people that fit their agenda. Now, you saw this happen. Funerals that fit their agenda, they just went ahead and broke the rules and allowed people to gather by the hundreds. This is sad, folks. They allowed businesses to be destroyed. Many of these businesses, it was the total wipeout of a family's economy. They threw everything into that business. Folks, businesses don't just pop up overnight. It's hard work. And they allowed these mobs to just destroy the businesses, these people's life work. And they restricted the police from taking action, necessary action, to protect the liberties and the life work of people. They allowed gun stores to be closed. They allowed statues to be vandalized. These are the history of our country. Bad or good, we need to learn from them. This is what communist people do before takeovers. They want to wipe out the history. They don't want you to remember it. And if you do remember it, they want you to pervert it. They want you to hate it. Remember, nothing unites people so much as a common hatred for something. They want you to hate your founding. They want you to hate the country. They want you to hate the Constitution. And many of us have fallen suit, and we've fallen prey to it. And it's so sad. They allowed churches to be set on fire. They allowed the infringement of our liberty. They allowed our Constitution to be ignored. And you need to remember all that as we come to these elections. It is cut and dry. To me, it's not even close. It's not even close. Everything I just read to you is so. If you are a patriot, these lines that are drawn in the sand should be very clear. And I know that many of you are saying, well, we couldn't help the protests. Sure, certainly we could. You empower the police to do their jobs. You don't rail on them. You don't speak as a lawmaker about defunding peacekeepers and unleashing violent criminals onto the street, unleashing mobs to destroy at will. These are all taking place in strong Democrat cities with strong Democrat lawmakers who don't even want to bring in the federal government to bring a cure. They want the pain to go deep. They believe that they are starting a revolution that's going to bring justice. And you're thinking, what kind of justice? What nation is better than the United States anywhere on the planet? I mean, where are we going? So we better wake up. And folks, you have these options. You can either vote for a party that upholds the exact opposite morals from God, from Christ, and from patriots. You can go with these people that deny liberty to Americans. There are churches that these folks have actually said they are not allowed to sing. They are not allowed to sing. You better wake up. It's time that you wake up. I'm calling on the patriots and blacks, especially brown and black, my brothers. You got to wake up. You got to wake up. You're being lied to, and you're being manipulated to believe a certain narrative, and you got to wake up. The news that you're listening to is full of lies. Lies. And you're being manipulated by those lies. You ought to feel offended. You ought to be upset. But instead, you're allowing your mind to be gripped by them, controlled by them, and then leading you along, lying to you the whole course. This whole thing with the COVID, the death rate among those who contracted is so very low, very, very low, that it's not even worthy of things being closed down, and really hardly even people wearing masks, hardly. But here we are, deluded, deceived, fighting over stuff that these folks are manufacturing, they're creating, they're exaggerating, and we allow it to occur. May God help us all. These right there, as I said, they are reasons alone for us to make a proper decision about where we're going. Trump has positioned himself quite well in this regard. He built one of the strongest economies in the history of America, and I'm going to comment on that. Before COVID and before the Democrats decided, especially in the larger states, decided that they're going to try to allow this COVID suffering to go on further in order that the economy doesn't rebound as fast as it can to Trump's credit, which, by the way, it would, because he created an infrastructure, an economic infrastructure that included tax and trade and regulation reductions, these kinds of things. The oil, making America one of the chief oil producers in the entire world, and natural gas production, the #1 in the entire world. We're in a very strong position. And if these larger states, larger Democrat states cooperated, you would see the economy rebound in a very amazing way. But the president has been fighting these people since he's been in office. He has had to fight them about Russia hoaxes and things of this sort. Don't you imagine? These folks have spent millions of dollars investigating the president only to come up with nothing. And yet you don't hold your news media for that. These folks were lying to you, and they were bringing on lying agents to deceive you, to mess with your emotions, to make you see things the way they were not. And many of you will not demand from them an apology. They lied the entire course. You were duped. You were swept into it. The president is unscathed because they found nothing. And yet there you go, still listening to the same folks as they go from one scandal to the next, as they create these so-called scandals, as they perform mock impeachments and things of this sort. There you go, not realizing that your life and the lives of your children and your children's children are at stake. It's not the president that's merely at stake. It's your future, and it's the future of your family. And you better wake up. You better wake up. Now, folks, I need for you to go ahead and make certain that you share this far and wide. And get our brothers and our sisters educated about what's going on. Don't back down from presenting truth to people. Throw your energy and your strength behind the president, behind Trump. Let's go ahead and get this done. Now, listen, there's another thing I need to talk to you about. You don't follow personalities. Don't worry about personalities, as it were. We need the president, whoever that president is, to uphold the Constitution. This is what we're concerned about. People ask me before, what do you want the president to do for you? I want him to obey the law, whatever president there is. Uphold the Constitution. I'll take care of the rest. Go ahead and do what we've appointed legislatures and executives to do and judiciaries to do. Do your job. Do what we appointed you to do. Do what the people empowered you to do. We'll take care of the rest. By the way, whenever you hear Trump doing things that have very much helped the economy, let me tell you actually what the president did. It's Americans. Americans are geniuses as it concerns growth. The businessmen, small and large, absolutely amazing geniuses. What happens is when the government steps in with all kinds of regulations and tax policies, they end up hindering businesses. When they have ridiculous trade policies, they hinder the growth of businesses. All Trump is doing is getting the government out of the way so that the American people can do their thing. The growth is inevitable. We are the greatest economic machine in the history of mankind. And if the government gets out of our way, we will demonstrate it over and over again. That's what you see happening. You see the brilliance of Americans and our system of free markets just changing the world. We've done it before, we continue to do it, and we'll continue to do it, so help us God. But folks, we have to make certain that we're backing the people who know what they're doing. And the president has done it. Listen, share this, please, because on the next episodes, I'm going to give some more specifics on what policies the president has passed that directly impact the black community, the brown community, really the entire United States. Patriots, go ahead and share it. And please, one more time, remember, we're all in this together, black, white, Oriental, red, Hispanic. We're in this together. But the future is going to be happier when the American Constitution is preserved and this president and the Republicans are fighting for the life of our Constitution and our country. Let's fight with them, okay? God bless you all. Remember, share with somebody. I love you. We'll talk to you again.
I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in the city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property. We are putting everybody on warning. Our 7 o'clock curfew will be strictly enforced.